For the strength and stability component of this video, we're going to work with a side-arm raise, a wall slide, and a hollow hold. But first, side-arm raise, most basic strength work. We've seen this in many other training regimes, I imagine. But standing straight up, holding a small weight. Again, I've only got a 2.5 pound plate here. It can be lighter or heavier depending on where you're at. And this is all about control. So we want to make sure that we're doing this nice and slowly with intention and control. From here, I'm going to keep the arm straight. I'm going to engage my whole body. I'm going to lift very deliberately off to the side until I'm parallel to the floor. I'm going to pause and squeeze. And I'm going to then pull the weight back towards me as opposed to letting gravity just take it back. I'm going to work with 5 to 10 reps of this. Nice and slow and controlled, making sure you're keeping everything engaged. You're squeezing the dumbbell or the plate. After 5 reps, we're going to pause at the top. We're going to do 5 little rotations in each direction. So pause, and then very small, deliberate little circles. 2, 3, 4, 5. Reversing direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And pause. And then from there, I'm just going to squeeze and hold for a count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, very deliberately bringing it back down. Depending on the weight you're using, you can work with 5 to 10 reps. Once you've done one side, you can do the other. Now, what we want to also make sure when we're doing this is that, again, we're not compensating with the rest of the body. I'm not leaning away from this. I'm not twisting and turning. I'm making sure that I'm not popping the rib cage or the head forward, trying to keep as much, everything in line as possible. To do that, you can have your arm up against the wall, just like we did the other. From here, this will keep me from leaning away and make sure I'm focused on staying nice and straight. And then also making sure I've got a slight posterior pelvic tilt, the rib cage is down, the head is back. Find my distance, get everything engaged, squeeze the plate, and lift. 1, squeezing, going down. Keeping engaged at the bottom, not releasing tension. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Little circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause and squeeze and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and bring it back down. All right, so basic shoulder work. We can change positions. Instead of straight ahead, you can go 45, you can go front, you can be anywhere along there. You can work with positions where you're bringing it up, across, back over. Something that you can play around with a little bit. Keep a light weight, find various positions, move them back and forth between them. But the big thing here is control. You want very deliberate movement. You want to be connected through the whole body, and you want to slow this down. Once you've done the side-arm raise, we can move on to a wall slide. This is some scapular mobility strength work. I'm going to go sideways here. You can see what's going on with my upper body. But basically, I'm going to have my back up against the wall. I want to make sure I'm not arched in the low back. So I'm going to have the posterior pelvic tilt. I'm going to have my low back against the wall as much as I can. I'm going to bring my head back against the wall. I'm going to bring my arms up at a 90-degree angle. And I'm going to try and get my elbows and hands to touch the wall as well. So I'm going to have points of contact against the wall, and I'm making sure none of those points of contact leave the wall. That's very important. So move very slowly, Be focused on where you're touching the wall and try to maintain that contact in those areas. And from here, it's a very small movement. It's going to be a slide up the wall and slide back down as low as we can without losing any contact. The whole time we're doing this, we're trying to get those shoulder blades squeezed together. So from behind, my shoulder blades are not pulling away from the wall. I am actually squeezing the scap, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and I'm maintaining that squeeze, pulling the shoulders together as everything is up against the wall and doing the slide. So, up against the wall, I'll have to have my feet about one of my foot lengths away from the wall so that I can get comfortable with the low back against the wall. The other option is to sit down on the floor. This is fine here. Posterior pelvic tip, low back's against the wall, head's against the wall, elbows against the wall, hands against the wall. Now, I'm trying to actually have the wrists against the wall. So, this isn't quite the same as this. Try to get the wrists against the wall as best you can. Now, you may not be able to make this happen, but intention is what this is all about. So, everything's against the wall. I'm engaged in upper and lower body. I'll start by sliding down as far as I can, bringing the elbows down, exhaling as I go. Still making sure I'm breathing. And then I'll slide back up, very slow and deliberate, as high as I can without anything leaving. Pause, squeeze, come back down. This is very hard work. If you are focused on keeping everything contracted, making sure none of those contact points lose contact with the wall, pausing at each bottom and top, squeezing the shoulders together, continue for a total of 5 to 10 reps. Shakers. The third element we're going to work on is a hollow hold. Now, a lot of spinal strength is helped with core, of course. We can mobilize the spine, but we want to have strength around it as well. The hollow hold is a great exercise for developing some deep abdominal strength. The very basic version of this starts with basic hold. We can do a few practice movements getting into this hollow hold. So you'll see that when most people lay down on the floor, their rib cage will naturally pop up. The low back will be off the floor. And we don't want that for this. To get it deep into our abdominals, we want to get that posterior pelvic tilt, get the rib cage down, and the low back firmly pressed against the floor. I should not be able to slide anything under my low back at this point. From here, I'm going to start by rolling my shoulders off the floor. Now you'll notice what I didn't do is crank my neck forward. So think about not the head lifting off the floor, but drive the low back in and try to bring the shoulders up off the floor. I'm still looking at the ceiling at this point. From here, I can pick up my hands, pick up my feet, bring the legs together, and I am actively driving the low back, keeping my posterior pelvic tilt, driving that low back, making sure the shoulders stay off the floor, and I'm holding this position. Now, I recommend that you practice raising and lowering posterior pelvic tilt, low back, shoulders, hands, feet. Making sure you've got that good control over your core as you lift and lower. Once you feel you have that control, you know what you're supposed to be doing, you can work on holds. So you can do 5 to 10 reps of lifts, and then you can start with a hold. It can be 15, 20, 30 seconds. Eventually you can build this up to a minute. As you progress and this becomes easier, the way to make this more difficult is to start to extend the body. So from here, posterior pelvic tilt, low back's in contact, shoulders off the floor, pick it up. I can start to extend, so I can bring my feet a little further out. You'll notice that I'm not pushing them up towards the ceiling, but what I'm doing is keeping them same relative distance from the floor and just extending out straight At some point, you may feel the rib cage start to lift off the ground. If that happens, bring the heels back towards your hips and get that posterior pelvic tilt and make sure you're still in contact with the floor. Find that end. This is the thing you want to challenge yourself with. Extend as much as you can to find that point where you have to fight for that 15, 20, 30 seconds to keep that low back plastered with the floor. You can adjust as you go along. If you're finding it's easy, extend a little bit, then it starts to get too hard, you're feeling the lift, bring it back in. You can play with that a little bit, but find that fine edge. Again, as you progress, the full extension looks this. The arms start to come back as well. The feet continue out. The hands continue over. Low back still pushing the floor. And holding this position for up to 60 seconds. Start with shorter intervals, and as you build up strength, go with longer intervals, and also go with opening up more. So what I would suggest is you start with the basic tucked-in version, build up the length of time that you spend in that before you start to extend. That is the third strength and stability movement in this component, and you can do 3 rounds of that as well. Just like any of the other videos, if you want to focus on that individual video and not the whole session, you can do anywhere from 3 to 5 rounds and use it as part of some other training that you're doing. The next element will be the flexibility. It's coming up.